One of my favorite things to watch is the fans that react back behind the net, behind home plate. Little whiplash today. Ton of velocity out of the circle and big swings out of Giles.
Another 2-2. And after the leadoff triple, Lemley got Johnson to pop out and in the country. That's right behind her. Lynch 6 for 10 in this regional with 3 home runs. Hit a couple of them yesterday, and McMillan hit one. And I'm not going to say she certainly wasn't in a slump, but for her to go more than a couple of games without a home run is unusual, and she hit one yesterday.
Yeah, she had 15 home runs in her last 18 games, but had not hit one in the last week or so, which is uncharacteristic of McMillan here at the end of the season. So I think there was a little bit of a hypothetical monkey that came off of her back yesterday.
Team hit 5 home runs, eliminating Belmont. We take a closer look at Riley.
Well, and Riley throws with good velocity and relies primarily on her drop ball. Throws that about 60% of the time. The off speed has glove side run, and she'll elevate with a rise ball.
McMillan behind 1-2, and you see the shift with 3 infielders on the right side for McMillan. We have not seen that against her this year in the games we've done.
No, she's a good spray hitter, but what that tells you is she's going to be totally jammed up at the plate.
Hello to everyone on the SEC Network. We are just underway here. Alabama and Virginia Tech. Pam Ward and Jenny Dalton-Hill joining you in a game that was delayed 3.5 hours by rain and lightning. Alabama 1 win away from advancing to the Super Regional in Oklahoma. Jordan Lynch, first pitch, thrown out after Corey McMillan struck out. Virginia Tech would have to win this game, force another one, and win that as well in order to advance.
Big day for Virginia Tech. They have to win this first one to give themselves a chance to even get to Super Regionals. Alabama started with a huge triple, could not push around the run.
Vandegrift led off with that triple, and then Lemley got a pop out and a couple of strikeouts to strand Vandegrift, who's one of the best base stealers in the country. Zoe Yeager is the sophomore catcher. Just 1 hit so far in this regional. Alabama beat Virginia Tech yesterday and stayed in the winner's bracket. Virginia Tech had to come back out of the loser's bracket, did that, eliminated Belmont to get here. Riley with a terrific start herself. Couple of strikeouts. Yeager goes down swinging.
You know the drop ball's coming, so you've got to be ready. An adjustment needs to be made at the plate if the Hokies want to attack Riley. 2 strikeouts, both of them down in the zone in the inning.
Third in the nation. They were second in the nation in that department last year, so power has been a big part of their makeup. Salem Hawkins leading things off to start here in the second. Transfer from Mississippi State. Won the job at shortstop just because of her defense out there at that position. And she's quickly behind Emma Lemley, 0-2. Yeager set up well outside. That was never going to be a strike. But Salem didn't swing.
Well, if Pam knows it's not going to be a strike in an 0-2 count, you know Lemley's probably not going to deliver you something over much of the plate.
Hawkins lunges and sends it over the Virginia Tech dugout. Another packed house here at Rhodes Stadium. People in the outfield. Nice place to see a game. And the levels out there that people can sit on, bring chairs, be on the berm. It's a little steamy. Lemley with her third straight strikeout.
While Lemley is known for that rise ball, she's been able to use the curve down in the zone to just help herself. That's a nice little drop ball, though. Outside corner. Yeager realizes it might have touched the ground, gets the tag for the out. So far, 3 Ks for Lemley.
After giving up the leadoff triple to Vandergriff, here's Brooke Elistad, third baseman. That triple that Lemley gave up, by the way, to Vandergriff to start the game was the first one she has given up all year in the circle. Lemley 155 innings pitched now. Leading the way for the Hokies, the senior.
Well, the big reason that triple happened was because the outfield just didn't get the right jump on the ball, and it got all the way to the wall. Not taking anything away from Vandergriff's speed, but the defense for the Hokies has been so good and solid this year that those miscues don't happen very often. The tendency as a hitter to, when you face velocity like Lemley, is to try to ramp up your own swing to match the speed of the pitcher. But your job is to simply connect. Let the velocity out of the circle, allow the ball to travel.
Lemley now with over 190 strikeouts this season. She has 4 no-hitters, tied for first in the country with Maya Johnson, who plays for Belmont, who Virginia Tech beat twice this weekend. Short left field, Trinity Martin, out number 2.
And pay attention to that grass out in left. It was squishy yesterday because of a lot of extra rain and never really dried out fully. And then with the amount of rain that we just got in the weather delay, I anticipate that the footing out there in left could still be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, we saw an outfielder slip out there earlier in this regional because of the squishiness. Yes, that's it. And the squishy, by the way, not your word. That came from the grounds crew.
That's right. They could not find a way to dry that out. It's playable. It is not going to hurt anyone. However, and a tight cut or a quick break can sometimes find your feet falling out from underneath you out there in left.
Audie Hubbard looking for her first hit of the weekend. Lemley skips one to the backstop and then looks over at her dugout and smiles a little bit.
I'm fine.
She's emotive.
I'm fine.
You see some things from her today.
Yeah, normally in the circle, you're used to seeing someone more like Pete Demore, very stoic. However, Lemley, a little bit more dramatic in the circle than a lot of pitchers. Got a golden ticket as well. So those two players, a chance to play in the AUSL this summer. 12 golden tickets handed out, and they will be able to sign that contract as soon as their collegiate seasons are complete this year.
Well, it's great to have that, to see these softball players continue their careers. Kylie Aldridge DPing today, has done some catching for Virginia Tech. In this regional, terrific numbers, 6 hits, including 2 home runs. Lifted into left field. Lauren Johnson had a beat on it.
Aldridge, just one of those hitters in the Hokie lineup you cannot take lightly. She's seen the ball so well here. 3 extra base hits, 2 home runs, 6 for 10 in the weekend.
Caitlin Riley has set down the first 4 Tech batters she has faced. Senior Bree Peck. Most home runs and runs driven in the history of Virginia Tech. So 1 for 3 with an RBI single in the loss to Bama yesterday. And that scoreless first inning, by the way, for Virginia Tech was the first time in this regional, they have not scored in the first inning. They had scored in the first inning in all 3 of their previous games, including 2 in the first inning against Alabama yesterday. Peck draws the walk, the first base runner for the Hokies.
In the first inning, we saw a lot of those balls down right below the kneecap getting called a strike. So Riley trying to exploit that spot down in the zone, just can't do it against Peck. Puts her on for the first walk of the game.
Emily Leggett hits it to first. They go over to get the lead runner and just missed turning the double play.
And as a first baseman, when you make this throw, you have to make sure that you keep that ball to the inside of the baseline. Salen Hawkins set up well over there waiting, but she would have had a better chance had she moved through that throw rather than standing in that still position to catch the ball.
So Leggett reaches on the fielder's choice. Trinity Martin is the left fielder, and that gets by the glove of Dukeshire at first. Quickly backed up there by Pruitt to hold Leggett to second.
I thought perhaps they would challenge the throw out there and right, knowing that the grass is wet and getting a solid throw off of a wet surface can sometimes give you that bad throw, but Pruitt got it in quickly, and Virginia Tech did not pressure her.
That is the first hit for Virginia Tech. Annika Rose swings at the first pitch just like Leggett did before her. Virginia Tech strands 2. We're scoreless through 2.
Who's number 1 on the baseball side, Pam? Texas A&M, just like softball.
Wow.
Now, the difference may be Texas A&M lost yesterday in regional play. Was behind Liberty earlier today, but has come back. They're going to have to force an if necessary game to get out of regionals today.
Looking for our first run here. Bama goes to the Super Regional with a win. Or we'll play another one if Virginia Tech wins. And Liberty did get up on Texas A&M, the #1 overall seed in softball, 6-0. They had a grand slam, but A&M now up 10-6 in the 5th. Trying to force that decisive game. And the #1 overall seed has never lost, has never lost in the regionals since they went to this new format in 2005.
And I misspoke just a little teeny bit, Pam. Texas is the #1 seed, but Texas A&M was the preseason #1.
Okay, no longer. And Aggie fans and Longhorn fans, it's a huge difference.
It is, and I apologize to the fan bases.
2-1 to Dukeshire. It's a rise from Lemley. Dukeshire did not get a hit against Virginia Tech when they played yesterday, but it was the other Emma, Mazzarone, who got the start. And the other Lem, she now has 4 strikeouts.
And she's using the drop ball. Everyone knows across the country that she loves that rise, but look at the spin on that. That's actually rise spin sitting at the knees. So not getting that hard, sharp break up in the zone, but leaving it low, knowing that's where the strikes are being called today.
Leadoff triple for Vandegrift. Since then, she has set down all 7 batters she has faced. #9 hitter, the right fielder, Larissa Pruitt. She reached on an Annika Rose error yesterday, 1 of 2 for the shortstop, who only had 2 all year, and had 2 of them yesterday. Of the 4 runs that Alabama scored, 3 of them were earned, 1 unearned. Tech with 3 errors total.
Yeah, one was a line drive right at her, and she took her eye off of it at the last second and dropped that ball. Just uncharacteristic errors by the shortstop, but that's what speed does. You take your eye off of it to try to find the out before you secure the ball, and that's what happened yesterday to Rose at short.
Well, Lemley has induced 10 swing and misses so far.
A lot of velocity, usually pretty good break, but does leave pitches big. You have to be ready to attack when she misses.
Fisted out to Leggett, who steps on the bag for the second out. Teams going to the Super Regionals, a ton of them are in. Only Nebraska, not a national seed. Jordy Ball doing it in the circle and at the plate.
So impressed with her performance in this regional. She has joined the 2020 club this year. 20 wins, 20 home runs, and just the 5th athlete to do so in our sport.
That's amazing, and congratulations to Nebraska. Been a while since they've been in a Super Regional. Here's Vandegrift, led off this game with a triple, but then was stranded. That is in there for a strike. Jordan Lynch at third, Emily Leggett at first. Playing in and crashing in that time. But as you mentioned, Vandegrift has the ability to punch it out into the outfield as well.
Yeager holding that pitch just a little bit longer to see if she could buy the strike. Yeager receives very quietly. Even though she's catching a ton of velocity, she receives the ball without a lot of recoil. Very strong catcher back behind the dish.
Don Brown calling balls and strikes for us this afternoon. Vandegrift's numbers are excellent.
And to think, she thought that perhaps she could be a pinch runner this year, and told her mom and dad not to be surprised if they didn't see her name in the starting lineup in the first game.
And she's run up. Lemley, since giving up that leadoff triple, has been off to a great start.
At the end of the regular season, Emma Lemley floundered a little bit. Couldn't find that gear that we're seeing here today. She's racked up 5 strikeouts, taking her season total to 194 Ks.
She has set down every batter since giving up the leadoff triple to Audrey Vandegrift in the first inning in a 10-pitch at bat. And she is hidden behind there. There's some ice for Lemley. Rachel Castine starting things off against Caitlin Riley, who gave up a walk and a single in the last inning, but got out of it. Virginia Tech left 2 on. They left 9 on yesterday in the loss to Bama. Castine, the number 9 hitter, dropping down into the lineup, coming back from a wrist injury last year that shut her down after about 10 games.
And coming back this year, Rachel Castine had her bat speed affected a little bit because of that wrist injury. So a little bit slower start did not set her on the trajectory of the big astronomical numbers we saw her starting at the beginning of last year.
The rest of her teammates certainly can take up a lot of that slack. 111 home runs on the season. That's hit right to the second baseman, Hevelin, for the first out. And now Corey McMillan comes up. Struck out looking her first time up against Riley.
Always better to keep the bases empty when you see McMillan coming to the plate. Castine's job is to put herself on for RBI or for runs opportunities for Corey McMillan. But right now, base is empty. I don't know why you pitched to her.
They went right after her, and McMillan took a big hack at it.
But just like in her last at bat, Pam, we've got that defensive shift on with the right side of the field inundated with defender who know your zone. Corey McMillan loves to stand close to the plate. If you back up, it actually alters your strike zone. So you have to be careful how you change yourself in the box so that you're prepared to attack strikes.
Well, one thing when we talk to the athletes the first day we got here, is, especially Virginia Tech, it's like, we're not going to change anything. We're just going to go be us. We've been successful all year. Obviously, there are certain adjustments you have to make as the game goes along. Chopped into that shift, and that's the shortstop Hawkins playing on the second base side to retire McMillan, who's 0 for 2. Patrick Murphy, winning 1 national championship here at the University of Alabama, as he is hiding from us behind one of the poles in the dugout. Under the glove of Dukeshire. That's a 2-out base hit for Jordan Lynch, who has been really hot this weekend.
So impressed with the way that Lynch has stepped up. Michelle Chatfield was the hitter behind Corey McMillan for most of the season, but went down with a wrist injury in their last regular season game against Florida State in conference play. And since then, Lynch has stepped in and just done such a good job of putting the ball in play with a lot of power.
She's a true freshman. And that sets up Zoe Yeager, who struck out swinging on a drop ball in her first at bat. Here's Chatfield with the wrist brace. And she did pinch hit yesterday. She is day-to-day, but still it was surprising for me to see her come out and pinch hit.
I love the fact that Coach Pete DeMoore put her in for that pinch hit chance, because sitting on the bench, you start to feel like you're missing out. So giving her that at bat not only keeps her hungry, but also just propels that training to try to get back into the swing of things. No pun intended, but to be able to enter the starting lineup again. She is such an important bat for the Hokies, but Jordan Lynch has done a great job of backing up McMillan at the plate.
She's behind 0-2. Yeager is laced foul. Chatfield hurt early in a game against Florida State, the final regular season series in Blacksburg. And Jason Beecham was coming down the line. It was one of those plays where her glove hand got run into and she hurt her wrist there, but they are hopeful to get her back soon. Skipped in, played nicely by Giles.
And you know that the name of the game for Virginia Tech is not stolen bases. While you do need to make sure you have good dirt ball reads, just 37 stolen bases on the year for Virginia Tech,
which is 13 fewer than Vandegrift has by herself. That is a fair ball down the line. Lauren Johnson comes up with it, and Yeager comes through. Johnson slide to get it.
in her first at bat, Yeager went down with a strikeout on the drop. Well, this drop was down and in. Yeager went down to get it. Nice shot into left field. To be able to block that up from getting to the wall, so important, because not knowing how the ground's going to play out there, just needed to be a wall to prevent it from getting all the way to the warning track.
That is the fifth double of the year for Yeager, who is being pinch run for by Charlotte Moore. Saw Charlotte yesterday as a pinch runner. She goes back in again. Challenge for Virginia Tech, and yesterday, was getting runners in once they got on base. They left 9 of them on the base paths. Kylie Aldridge, one of those hot hitters, comes up, flew out her first time.
Yeah, she's been hitting with just great control of the strike zone, attacking great pitches, 2 home runs and a double in the regional.
A big opportunity, but 2 away for the Hokies.
She's the only hitter in the lineup that has 2 hits in each of their games that they've played here this weekend.
And Aldridge did hit a home run Friday against Alabama off Brisky.
That ball up in the zone. Brisky left it up, and she climbed the ladder to get it herself. Didn't go out by much, but it was a nice little poke to put some energy back in the Hokies dugout.
Jocelyn Brisky got the complete game win. Caitlin Riley
in front means keeping runs off the board. Have to have great reflexes in the way that she was able to move and keep that ball in front. So athletic behind the dish.
2-1. Aldridge waited on it, sent it into center field, but it's playable for Vandegrift, who gets it just on the warning track. Virginia Tech strands 2 more.
What adjustments do you need to make at the plate?
Hey, she's a great pitcher. We all know that. She's throwing gas right now. She's got a lot of adrenaline, I think. I mean, you know, when she gives up the triple to lead off the game and to get to 2 Ks and a pop-up, you know, something's going well. I think we got to shorten our swings a little bit, stay in the strike zone. We've had 3 outs out of the zone. So we need to stay in the zone a little bit more, shorten the swings. She's going to provide the pop. We don't need a big, you know what, swing. We need to stay easy on our swing. She's going to provide the pop.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Coach.
Hey, thanks for being, guys.
All right.
I wonder what kind of swing he meant.
A really big one, kind of like the fans in Lexington. But yeah, he's right. Emily has been terrific. Gave up that leadoff triple to Vandegrift, and she's a fun pitcher to watch, can get very emotional, but has settled in nicely and has not allowed a base runner since Vandegrift's leadoff triple. Lauren Johnson starts things off in the 4th inning.
I think Patrick Murphy nailed it when he talked about how the adrenaline has been amping up the velocity of Lemley in the circle against these Alabama hitters.
This is the 4th game, actually, that Virginia Tech has played against Bama. They played a couple back in February. The opening round, Lemley started against Belmont. Really nice performance for her. Facing a more potent offense today against Alabama.
Well, and we didn't actually anticipate that she would throw against Belmont in the opener here in the regional, but after the performance in Boston at the ACC Championship, where she pitched in the rain, walked 4 straight batters, then hit a batter and had to be relieved, I appreciated that Pete DeMore put her back in the circle to be able to put her back on the horse, right? Just got to keep doing what you know how to do, maybe get her out of her head, that headspace of doubt, and be confident back in the circle with what she knows how to do.
Two to Johnson. Lemley told us she's very used to pitching here. She's been here 4 times, including in February when they played in a tournament. Lemley pitched really well, winning 2-1, got hit around a little bit in the 2nd game.
Well, Virginia Tech is 2-8 in their last 10 meetings. Both of the wins that they've gotten off of Alabama have been in the past 2 years.
Johnson just reached out to stay alive. And we were able to chat with Lemley a couple of days ago and asked her about that. I mean, let's face it, it was a disastrous outing in the rain at Boston. 4 straight walks and then a hit batter when she only needed to get 1 out to beat or to end the 6th inning against Clemson in the semi. And that's right in the hole. Solid single for Johnson to lead off the 4th.
You have to keep moving the ball through the zone. You cannot leave it big. And sometimes as Lemley settles into a game, her pitches tend to sit flat and can find the middle of the plate. So it's so important for her to continue to spin tight, keep using that leg drive to use the velocity to attack these Alabama hitters.
Her 60th pitch is to Hevelin, who is the power hitter for Bama. Swings through that one. She struck out swinging her first time against Lemley today.
Well, and in talking with Patrick Murphy, he talked about how his hitters needed to shorten up their swings. That's one of the adjustments that Callie Hevelin has made recently, is to just shorten up that load and get right to the ball out in front.
Hevelin hit a home run that put them ahead yesterday against Tech.
It was crushed, Pam. She hit it so far, and the way that she did it was with just very limited movement, very quick and tight, right to the ball, extension through.
And that was off the other Emma Mazzarone, who started for Tech. And Hevelin leaps and bounds. Her offensive numbers just off the charts compared to her first 3 seasons.
Well, and in the fall, she pulled her hamstring, broke her finger, and couldn't really practice mechanics with her team and sat in the bullpen, watching the pitchers throw, watching the strikes come in. And she says that's actually a big part of why she feels so disciplined and comfortable at the plate, having much better and mature at-bats right now as she stays disciplined on the zone. The lessons that she learned while being hurt and sitting in the bullpen watching the pitchers throw.
Lynch has been the starting third baseman since day one. Has started every game at third as a freshman. First pitch by Giles lands in the glove of McMillan. So for the second time today, a leadoff runner gets on for Bama, and they don't score it. We're still scoreless. We'll talk to Pete.
Haven't seen anybody put a shift on Corey McMillan the way that Alabama is right now. What's your message to her on how to hit out of it?
I can't tell you that. No, just get a good pitch to hit and try to get it in the air. That's the message right now to her. So, she's been our leader all year, and hopefully she gets one.
Okay, thank you so much.
Gobble, gobble. One thing, Pam.
Yes,
you
sir.
told me yesterday you were self-deprecating.
Yeah.
You are not a schlub. You are not.
I'm not a schlub?
No. Yeah, you're the best. You're the best.
I appreciate that,
You're welcome.
Coach.
See ya. Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
Wow, 2 gobble gobbles.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, it's nice to know that I have been taken off the schlub list.
See?
Officially.
At least on his.
Yes, exactly. The only person on the planet. And he's looking fine now in the clothes that he somehow begged, borrowed, and stole after he left his suitcase in his car back in Blacksburg before they came here.
When we were meeting with the athletes before the tournament began, we said, are there any stories that we maybe haven't asked about or talked about when we've covered you this year? And they turned to Coach and said, can we tell them? And we were really intrigued, like maybe this was going to be a big breaking story. And they were so excited to tell us that Coach left his suitcase at home and had no clothes. Got on the airplane, arrived in Tuscaloosa, and went right on a shopping spree.
Gets a couple of wins today. He can just pick up that suitcase of clean clothes and go to Norman, Oklahoma. Bree Peck bounces out to start the 4th inning.
And I'm sure he had other things on his mind. It was raining when they boarded the bus. He had just told his little buddy Roe, his little son, who was having his birthday, goodbye, and so maybe his mind just wasn't where it needed to be. Maybe he'll have a little bit more mercy if that ever happens to an athlete on the road.
Yeah. First pitch, Leggett sends to the wall. Johnson grabs it.
That had a little giddy up on it, Pam. Off the bat, I thought it was going to be a routine fly ball out there to left, but it continued to carry. And with the way that the air is heavy with moisture, very humid here today, that ball got all the way to the warning track.
So with the exception of the last inning, Riley has really not had to throw a whole heck of a lot of pitches. So just her 45th, but that one's going to squeak on through. Martin with the 2-out single. They've had base runners on every inning except for the first. They have left 2 on in each of the last 2 innings.
There was a lot of emotion in that first inning. The leadoff triple by Vandergriff in the top half of the inning, and then coming back in the bottom of the inning, Virginia Tech found themselves on their heels with that Corey McMillan looking strikeout to start the game.
And Annika Rose comes up for the second time today with 2 outs and at least 1 runner on base. And Rose has not been relied on for her offense. And we get a big swing from her, an effective and productive swing. As you see, not great numbers, just the 1 home run on the season. But is in the lineup because she's one of the best shortstops around.
Yeah, defensively solid this year, does not have a hit in the regional, but is not in the lineup to produce a ton of offense. You mentioned, Pam, she has become such a staple for them up the middle in that shortstop spot.
Under the glove of Riley and not in time to get anybody.
And if she doesn't stop that one up the middle and allow it to just trickle, I think Salyn Hawkins may have had a chance to cut that off and throw across to get the out, but put enough leather on it to basically stop it in the middle of the field.
That just slowed it down. An infield single, so 2 on, 2 out for Rachel Castine, who is also looking for her first hit of the weekend. She is 0 for 7. And it seems like Virginia Tech, if they're not hitting home runs, they're just leaving people on base.
Well, that's been their MO. That's how they score runs, with the long ball. So they anticipate putting people on and then putting up the crooked number with the ball sailing over the wall. But with the way that Alabama's been able to keep them in the park, it's been hard for them to score. A lot of umpires in the stands today, Pam.
It's a strike when Riley's in the circle, and a ball when Riley is. That's what fans are for. Castine. Grabbed by Vandegrift early in that game. Coming back. And here we're still looking for our first run. Alabama, no runs on 2 hits. Virginia Tech, no runs on 5 hits. Tech has already left 6 on. Emma Lemley pitching well. Caitlin Riley as well for Bama, shutting out Tech. And that's a leadoff single for Salyn Hawkins here in the 5th.
The second time through the lineup, when you're pitching to a team and you were dominant the first time through, you can try to go back to what made you successful the first time you faced the batters, but now you need to start evolving. The hitters for Alabama know that there's not a huge change of speed pitch for Emma Lemley. She will flash it every once in a while, but you just need to sit velocity and be good on the zone.
Elistad puts down a perfect bunt. And a smart play by Yeager to hang on to the ball.
Beautiful drag bunt placed right in front of home plate, so the crashing corners don't have a chance to get to that ball, and Lemley just too far away to get to it. Yeager comes up with it, but there is nowhere to make a play. Beautifully placed drag bunt right in the middle of no man's land.
And Annika Rose, you might have seen number 55 sprinting. That was a shortstop getting over there to cover third, or else Hawkins would have taken off to try to get that base, which was left uncovered because Lynch crashed to try to get the bunt. And now Rhodes Stadium making some noise. Pete DeMore coming out, gathering his infield in, along with Emma Lemley, and Patrick Murphy doing the same with his base runners. And Marty Hubbard getting ready to hit.
I mean, the Rhodes house is actually the 10th member of the Alabama team. They affect the energy of the team. They affect the energy of the opponent. When we talked to Emma Lemley about how hard it is to play in this environment, she said she loves it, she feeds off of it, and she's used to being in the middle of it.
First time that Alabama has had more than one base runner on in a single inning. Hubbard popped out in foul territory to the first baseman Leggett, her first time up. Infield playing in. Hubbard does not have a sacrifice hit on the season, so no home runs. She's down 0-2 to Lemley. and then lifts it into short center where it's caught by Peck, who was playing shallow enough. She could almost run it into second base herself, practically did. That's a first out.
You have to be so aware of your base runners. Everyone fast on this Alabama team. There are 9 green light girls, meaning they can go on their own. I do not see them trying to steal third in this situation, but don't put it past Patrick Murphy to do a drag and go or something to get his runners moving.
Here's Dukeshire. Upstairs from Lemley. Struck out on the drop ball looking. Dukeshire looking for her first hit of this regional. It would be a big one.
I mean, Alabama did have a run rule win over Virginia Tech earlier this year, and in that run rule win, Dukeshire was 3 for 3. She's vulnerable to the changeup at the plate, but you do not see Emma Lemley throwing many changeups from the circle.
2-1. Taken for a strike. Up outside, and that fills up the count with Pruitt on deck.
Lemley does not throw that pitch to try to get a strike. She's trying for the swing and miss way off the plate, but it pushes the count to full.
Upstairs, bases loaded with just 1 out.
First walk of the day by Lemley. You know she loves to throw that rise ball, but what a mature at bat by Dukeshire to stay so good at the strike zone. Lemley knew she missed a chance.
Kinley Pate coming in to run for Dukeshire over at first. Single, a bunt single, and a walk have loaded the bases. And there's the chicken in the dugout, hoping for Pruitt to break through this scoreless game. And after her, it's Vandegrift in the top of the order. And there is no activity in the Virginia Tech bullpen. And as I say that, it looks like Emma Mazaron's going to go over there and get loose. She started against Bama yesterday morning. So Sophie Kleiman also in the area over there in the bullpen. 0-1 pitch. Bases full of Crimson Tide players. And now 0-2.
With less than 2 outs, defense will be in. They're trying to get the out at the plate to keep the 0 on the scoreboard, but a sharply hit ball will find its way between defenders because they don't have much time to move laterally, being so close to the plate.
Glenn trying to get the batter to chase, and Dukeshire laid off. Or Pruitt, pardon me. Bama 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Pruitt lifts it into short left field, not deep enough. The fake over there at third to draw the throw by Hawkins, but Martin grabs it, and now 2 away. And here comes Vandegrift.
But off the bat, you knew it was going to be a chance for a sac fly, but that one way too close to the infield to take a chance with a runner on third.
Audrey Vandegrift started things off with a triple, struck out looking her last time up. Scoreless game. Bases loaded, 2 away. Vandegrift up for Alabama. And the wins, they go to Oklahoma to play in the best-of-3 Super Regional next weekend. Now Emily trying to get out of this jam. But she has fallen behind Vandegrift 2-0. Now 3-0. Just had her first walk of the game a couple of batters ago, did Lemley. Vandegrift plays off. It's a 4-pitch walk, and Bama takes the lead.
Emma Lemley, 4-pitch walk. Talk about a mature at bat by the freshman in the leadoff spot for Alabama. Does not go after that ball up in the zone. She's fired up, and Bama plates the first run.
Bases still loaded. Now for Lauren Johnson, who singled off Lemley in her last at bat. A couple of walks and a couple of singles off Lemley in this inning. Hevelin waits on deck. Virginia Tech really wants to see her lead off the 6th inning. As if she gets to hit, could be real. Johnson, short left field. Trinity Martin slipped, trying to get to the ball. A slick outfield, and Martin lost her footing.
We talked about it early in the game where that outfield grass in left field is wet. And with it being wet, you lose your footing, and that's exactly what happened to Trinity Martin out there in left. Too far for Annika Rose to get to, and with the slip, Martin can't get there. Huge opportunity for Bama in this one, squeaking in a hit when that should have been the 3rd out of the inning.
It looked to be a routine fly ball, but the squishy outfield is described by the groundskeeping crew, I should say, and that goes down as a 2 RBI single for Johnson. And brings up Hevelin. Already with a crooked number on the board, and Hevelin could really put Virginia Tech in a hole here. Patrick Murphy's team, when they scored first, 13 games over 500. Nice crooked number for them here in the 5th inning. Hevelin, the 8th Bama batter to come to the plate. For this inning, no walks allowed by Lemley, just 2 hits. And only 1 had been left on base by Bama. That one is lifted far into right field. And Corey McMillan drifted back and then actually had to pick it up from below her knees.
2 runs scored, and they sit with a 3-run advantage.
Pam Ward and Jenny Dalton-Hill with you in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, coming in as the number 15 national seed. Just need to win this one game to move on to the Super Regional. The shift on for McMillan. She lines the first one into the glove of Pruitt. And big for Alabama, pardon me. McMillan's 0 for 3.
Those are big outs. When you've got McMillan leading off an inning, you expect her to be able to attack a pitch, drive it deep, make a difference. But so far, she's been quiet in this one.
Jordan Lynch singled in her last at bat. Lynch lifts it, playable for the shortstop Hawkins, who drifts over to the second base side for the second out. Don't miss a minute of the action from the NCAA Softball Regionals. We'll take you to the best live action on the 7 Innings live show on the ESPN app. See every game and every big moment on the road to the Women's College World Series, only on the ESPN networks.
Tori Vidales, Tara Henry helping you out in studio. Keep up to date with all of the information from around the country.
All 5 Virginia Tech hits this afternoon have come with 2 outs. They've stranded 2 runners in each of the last 3 innings. Zoe Yeager takes one low, and the 7 Innings crew, I'm sure, all over that Texas A&M Liberty game. Liberty just won't go away. They're now down by only 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th as they try to knock off the number 1 overall seed. And that is a fair ball. Nope, foul ball. Trying to be induced over there by Mike Lewis, who is coaching third base. So Yeager has to come back.
You're notorious for the nicknames, Pam, but I don't think she likes Zager.
Zager, or Zager and Evans. What a big shutdown inning this would be for Riley. And now the shift with the count 1-2 right before the pitch. Hevelin ran over from second to put 3 infielders over on the left side.
Well, and that's a crazy shift to put on with a ball going to the outside part of the plate. I mean, typically you see a hitter try to get jammed up when a shift goes into play like that.
That's called a strike, a high one. And that's a 1-2-3 inning for Riley after her offense got her 3 runs, and she only needed 8 pitches to do it. In the game today, in order to advance to the Norman Super Regional, Oklahoma punching their ticket to stay home, to walk back to their ballpark. The 4-time defending champions will play the winner of this Super Regional. Remember, Alabama beat them 2-3 in a series here during the regular season this year. OU in the SEC for the first year, along with Texas. Texas will be hosting a Super Regional as well against Clemson. Both of those schools advancing today. Harley Giles leading things off. She was the only Crimson Tide player who did not hit in that 3-run 5th inning. She pops out to Leggett to start the 6th.
You mentioned that series against Oklahoma here in Tuscaloosa. When we talked to Patrick Murphy about the season, he said that was maybe the toughest 9-game stretch that he could have anticipated. They had LSU that was number 4 at the time on the road. Then Oklahoma came here to the Rhodes Stadium and then went on the road to play Florida. Those 3 weekends, he said, were a gauntlet.
The SEC difficult enough, and then you throw Texas and Oklahoma into there. And he had mentioned too, right, the early season schedule that he might have overscheduled. They got off to a rough start, at least record-wise, and then pulled things together. Chop, nice play by Lynch. Jordan Lynch, solid over there. Grabbed a liner that was heading into left field earlier in this game.
Little freshman over there on the hot corner, coming away with a big defensive game. You're right, Pam. She's had some key outs in this one.
5'6" freshman from Rising Sun, Maryland, the same home state as her head coach, Pete DeMoore. And Brooke Ellistad. Martin able to stay upright and grab it. That's a nice 1-2-3 inning for Lemley. Just 6 pitches, but Tech needs some runs.
Has thrown more strikes. She needs to hit them in the right counts. That walked in run, very uncharacteristic of the senior in the circle for Virginia Tech.
Now Kylie Aldridge starting things off for this Virginia Tech team that has only managed, well, has managed 5 hits off of Riley, all of them coming with 2 outs, and they have failed to get the ultimate 2-out hit. No home runs for them, which is unusual. They hit 5 of them yesterday against Belmont. 111 on the season. Corey McMillan, who leads the country with 31 home runs, is 0 for 3 against Riley. If she takes care of business, might not hit again. And Aldridge went deep earlier.
It was a big swing on a pitch left, maybe out of the zone, but as she attacked on the ball at the letters, kept her hands above it, drove it hard. Big home run for her. She got 2 home runs on the weekend.
It was the opening round game against Belmont. Maya Johnson, who leads the NCAA in strikeouts. Virginia Tech able to beat her twice. It's up the middle. Haviland, great backhand just to get to the ball, but wisely held onto it as Aldridge was getting down the line quickly. Tech has the leadoff runner on.
Well, and the best way to attack a home run hitting team that likes a ball up in the zone is to throw a heavy drop ball pitcher, and that's exactly what Riley is. So the adjustment made by Aldridge at the plate is to just drive the ball down into the ground, back up the middle. Haviland, while she was able to get there, her momentum was taking her so far away from first that wisely held on to it. But Virginia Tech threatening, well, can you call it threatening, standing on first base? But Virginia Tech gets the leadoff batter on.
Lila Blackwell comes in to run for Aldridge over at first. And Bree Peck comes up. A walk and a ground out, a relatively quiet regional for Peck. Just one hit against Bama. Did have an RBI single against Bama when they played yesterday morning. Two hits on the weekend. Bree Peck, the senior, what a terrific career. No one's hit more home runs or driven in more runs than she has. 3-time All-ACC second team. Inexplicably did not make any All-ACC teams this year. Was a very good third baseman. Shifted out to center field, basically whatever Coach Pete DeMoore thought, wherever she would best help the team, and she went along with it and has had a great career.
And typically you don't see Bree Peck swing on that pitch that low in the zone, but that pitch below the knee is being called a strike. So knowing that she needs to keep herself in this at bat and try to get Riley to throw a mistake at the plate, she has to attack that pitch a little bit lower than maybe what she typically uses as.
The ball found Giles, that's for sure.
Well, your job as a catcher is to make sure you keep the ball in front. That ball was going really high, so she had to come out of her positioning back behind the plate, but the foul tip, she wore that right off the leg.
And that upper left thigh well above the protection she wears on her legs. Jammed her. First out, squeezed by Hawkins.
First baseman number 9, Emily Leggett.
Emily Leggett reached on a fielder's choice and flew out. Riley delivers upstairs. Riley, her first year at Alabama after 3 years at Ole Miss.
Really pretty changeup. Got Leggett way out in front. And remember, Leggett, not the everyday starter coming into the end of the season. It was only after Michelle Chatfield went down with injury that Leggett became the everyday starter. Did have a home run yesterday.
Hit hard, but right at Duke. Texas Tech's going to go to Florida State. Clemson to Texas. Nebraska to Tennessee after LSU didn't even make it to regional final Sunday. Maudie Hubbard leading things off, the freshman against Emma Lemley. Lemley struck out 5 of the first 10 batters she's faced and has had no strikeouts since that run. No strikeouts since the 3rd inning for the senior. Virginia Tech is a team that is hard to keep down. They are being shut out now by Caitlin Riley, who does not have a shutout this season. Lynch couldn't get to that one. Backhanded by Blackwell, who almost slipped. The left fielder who came into the game. That's his double to lead off the 7th for Hubbard.
That left field ground coming back into play against the new left fielder, Lila Blackwell. She chases it down really well. Gets a good angle on it and cuts it off. But watch the way that her foot slips out underneath her. Because of that, it's off to the races for Maudie Hubbard. Clapping herself all the way in to a double to lead off the inning.
Hubbard was 0 for 8 in this regional before she got that double. Leadoff runner on. And you're not hearing people say, they're not booing. They're saying, boo.
For Dukeshire.
For Abby Dukeshire.
I think that's how you know you arrive, when you get the crowd to chant something about you in the stands.
Lemley, over 100 pitches in this game as that ball was chopped foul. One hit, 6-inning start on Friday against Belmont, shut them out. Got 1 out against Alabama when they played yesterday morning. Getting the start today, and there is the first strikeout since the 3rd. Pruitt sends it foul towards the Alabama bullpen. Patrick Murphy wants a word now with Pruitt, who is 0 for 2 in this game.
I've been impressed the way that the Alabama lineup has made adjustments their second time through. You mentioned it early, Pam. 5 strikeouts the first 10 batters of the game. And since then, that's just the first strikeout they've had since. Putting the ball in play, allowing the defense to give them chances to push runs across.
And a really big 5th inning. That's when they sent 8 to the plate and got 3 runs. A lot of damage, all the damage as far as scoring coming with 2 away. Nice stop by Yeager with that pitch that was wide.
So athletic back there behind the plate to be able to move and get that ball, glove it up.
Only needing a little extra time to put the towel back in her pocket. From Forest, Virginia, was the ACC Freshman of the Year and also a first-team performer. Top 3 finalists for National Freshman of the Year when she first came to Virginia Tech. Ahead of Pruitt, 1-2.
That screwball continues to just fly so far off the plate. It's not a believable pitch out of the hand of Lemley. That pitch needs to be more competitive if she wants it to be a swing and miss.
Back-to-back strikeouts now for Lemley in the bottom of the order. Sends Vandegrift back up. Last time Vandegrift was up, the bases were loaded, and she took 4 pitches, all of them balls. Got the RBI on the bases loaded walk. Vandegrift also tripled to lead off this game. Looking ahead to the Virginia Tech 7th, it's going to be the 8, 9, 10 slots. They would need to get someone on for McMillan to hit. She's 4th. The nation's leading home run hitter, who is 0 for 3 today. Right now trying to keep the score at 3-0. Walked her, but first base open that time.
And with the runner in front of Vandegrift, it prevents her from being the speed demon that creates havoc on the base paths, right, Pam? So with that, she's a little bottlenecked over there at first base, but with speed on the bases, Lauren Johnson comes up. She's been so successful at the plate in her last 2 at-bats.
Couple of hits, both of them singles, a 2-run single last time up. And a 3-run 5th. McMillan goes back, makes the catch to end the inning. So the bottom of the order coming up for Tech. They're hoping to get McMillan to the plate. Last chance to keep their season alive. Run 5th. And Virginia Tech stranding all 6 of their runners. 15 in all in their 2 games against Bama here. And Trinity Martin, now the DP. She's 2 for 2 against Riley. Has 2 of Tech's 6 hits. Whitney Riley, the Ole Miss transfer, had a couple of complete game shutouts when she was in Oxford, but none here with Bama. And what a way to finish. The seniors for Bama playing in their final home game. If they advance, they will be playing in Norman next week. It's 3-0. Martin takes and is called a strike.
Well, they are strategically throwing around Martin. She's got the most successful bat today in the lineup in the 7th spot.
Handled for the out by Dukeshire. She's made some nice plays down there today at first, and Annika Rose due up. No surprise that she is being pinch hit for. And it's Michelle Chatfield, who we saw in a pinch hit role yesterday. First time we've seen her play since the end of the regular season when she hurt her wrist playing first base against Florida State.
Yeah, collision at first base. Jason E. Beecham, Florida State third baseman, was advancing down the line. The throw got in to the baseline. They had that collision. Chatfield had not played since that game until yesterday, getting that pinch hit opportunity at the plate.
And their first practice on Tuesday. Sophomore who had been so important in this lineup at the time of her injury, second in home runs and runs driven in behind McMillan. Another 3-0 count for Riley. A visit from Giles. Talk to her pitcher. Chatfield walked yesterday when she came in as a pinch hitter against Belmont, took 4 pitches. That found the top of the zone. Castine on deck, and if someone can get on, that means McMillan will hit in the 7th. That's off of Riley, who goes down. Chatfield safe at first, but that one hit squarely on the leg of the pitcher.
Yeah, scary moment watching Riley go down with the line drive right off of the leg.
Patrick Murphy heading out.
Give her a chance to just breathe through it. I'm sure they'll give her a couple of pitches as well to make sure that she can land and push off those legs. But the hard line drive right off the lead leg, that leg out in front that has to be able to create a solid front leg.
She says she's ready to go.
She went down hard, Pam. That was a scary moment.
Rose comes back in to run for Chatfield. Over at first. And here's Castine. Barring a double play, this means McMillan will come to the plate. And this is a team that hits a lot of home runs. They are always one swing away from getting back into a game. McMillan 0 for 3 so far against Riley, including a strikeout. Rachel does not have a hit in this regional, and she's down 0-2.
Not happy with that call. Thinking it's too far outside. Well, adjustment needs to be made, or she's going to head back to the dugout.
Sent deep and gone. Rachel Castine on an 0-2 count has gotten Virginia Tech back to within 1. With the long ball, it can always be the great equalizer. Just takes one big swing.
We talked about how that was a key in the game to keep the ball in the park. Castine was not happy with those 2 strike calls to lead her off in the at-bat. That one was called for outside again, but leaks it back over the plate far enough for Castine to extend an adamant bat drop as that ball went out of the park. Trying to fire up her dugout. Hokies within 1, and the national home run leader at the plate.
7th home run of the season, and a standing ovation for Caitlin Riley, who had been brilliant shutting out this team until the 7th inning. Took a line drive off the bottom left leg, and now she is giving way to Jocelyn Brisky today. Corey McMillan 1 for 2 with a single off of Brisky, as Brisky was the winning pitcher. She was walked twice, once intentionally.
And there's her mom, Kara Duncan.
McMillan's mom in the gray t-shirt, the rally cap.
Gotta have the rally cap, right?
McMillan down 1 and 2. Should she reach, Jordan Lynch would be up.
Patrick Murphy talked about how he would move his defenders to the right side of the field because that's where all of her ground balls go. They're back in that shift to the right side.
McMillan just fouling it off. McMillan, one of just a few seniors on this team, but how impactful these seniors have been. 2 years at Radford, no power school offered her a scholarship. Virginia Tech did, and she has been terrific. McMillan! Striking out.
Down and in has been an Achilles heel for power hitters forever. It is impossible to catch up to that pitch down and in. That heavy drop ball by Brisky coming in a big situation. A tearful mom watches on with just 1 out to go for the Hokies.
From the senior to the freshman, Jordan Lynch. Three home runs in this regional. Nobody on, 2 outs, the 1-run lead. Corey McMillan, Rachel Castine, who hit the home run. Bree Peck, Emma Lemley, the seniors for this Virginia Tech squad, trying to get 1 more run. Keep this game going. And keep their season going. Popped up. Under it. And caught. Marley Giles squeezes it. And the Alabama Crimson Tide are Norman bound, where they will take on Oklahoma in the Super Regional.
Alabama takes down Goliath. The big home run hitting squad quieted by the pitching circle of Alabama. Tough end for the year for the Hokies as they say goodbye to 4 pillars in their program. But a gritty performance by the Crimson Tide advances to Super Regionals.
Great performance in the circle for Caitlin Riley.